4. What is first one? Second one? Third one? Fourth one? See, in first session tracking method, client state information, where it is stored? In a browser memory, client side. Second session tracking method, appended to URL. Appended to URL. Third session tracking method, stored at server side. Server side. Say, this third session tracking method can we implement independently? No. Here again, either with cookies or with URL rewriting required. So with cookies or with URL rewriting. So either with cookies or with URL rewriting required. Okay. Only cookies, only URL writing, HTTP sessions with cookies, HTTP sessions with URL rewriting. Fourth one, hidden form fields. Okay. Yesterday, HTTP sessions, just a HTTP session interface methods you have seen. Now, with cookies, with URL writing, how to implement, I'll show you. See, books program, that is online shopping type. You have seen for cookies program, URL reading. Now same style, HTTP sessions with cookies, HTTP sessions with URL reading, I'll explain. See, cookies program run on server. Books.html. Now I selected 2 items. When I click on submit, books are added to cart. Where it is stored? Browser memory client side. Okay. When I click on next button, those all books retrieved. But here not displayed, you observe. Here not displayed. Not displayed in address bar. Not displayed in address bar. Okay. Here the books are retrieved from client system, browser memory. Whatever you selected, those books retrieved from client system. Okay. One more, URL rating. Right click, run on server. Say books.html. Suppose if I select these 2 books, if I click submit button, your books are added to cart. Now appended to URL. When I click on next, say these all retrieved from this URL only. These all retrieved from this URL only. It is appended to URL. From URL it will retrieve. Okay. Now same program with HTTP sessions. See how to do. You observe. File, new, dynamic web project. Suppose session. Next, finish. Next, right click. Next, HTML file. File name books.html. This HTML file, no need to change one character also. Whatever you studied in the cookies URL writing, that is only I'll take. This HTML only I'll copy. I'll paste here. Here, one character also no need to change as it is. Whenever you click on submit button, set URL pattern of set cookie or set URL. Now I'll write set session. Okay. And book 1, book 2, book 3. And head for Java, Java to complete reference, SCJB by Kathy Sera, these all same. No change. Okay. Now, it is no need to change. Right click, run on server. If you run, this program is same, no change. Only HTML executed, output is same. Okay. Now, if I select some books, if I click on submit button, now error comes because that we didn't write. We have tried the program. Right click, new, servlet. Suppose package name session, class name set session, HTTP servlet. Next, here URL pattern already we decided, that is set. Okay. Next, which type of request coming? Get. So do get. Do get. Next, finish. Here, I'll remove this line. Now, first of all, we have to retrieve. From client system. Sorry, HTML program. For that, how to retrieve? Whatever is selected books, we have to retrieve. How to retrieve? Get parameter. So string s1 equal to request dot get parameter. Parameter name is book 1. Parameter name is book 1. Next, string s2 equal to request dot get parameter. Parameter name is book 2. String s3 equal to request dot get parameter. Parameter name is book 3. Retrieved. Okay. Book 1, book 2, book 3. These all we have to store in session variables. Okay. Now, how to store in session variables? Yesterday methods I given. You can see the notes. Yesterday methods I given. You can see the notes. You can observe method is there. Set attribute. 2 parameters are there. Set attribute, string and object. Okay. That method we have to use to set session. Okay. But that method, if you want to call, first HTTP session required. For getting HTTP session, yesterday one method I given. Get session. That method in which interface? HTTP solid request. What we have to write? HTTP session HS equal to request dot get session. Now we got a session. Now we got a session here. That means session ID created. That is password to client system. It is stored in browser memory, automatically done. So with this line only session created. So actually, I given 4 session tracking methods. This third session tracking method, client state information stored in server. Now worldwide, all people items are stored in server. But how server recognize which client? With session ID. To maintain that ID, either cookies required or URL rerating required. So by default, cookie works. That is default. Cookie code no need to write here. That cookie automatically works. Now, here, session ID created, password to browser, it is stored in browser memory without writing any code. That is automatically done. That means here, how many ways to maintain session ID? 2 ways. Default is cookies. Default is cookies. If you don't write anything, cookies works. If you write URL rating works. So by default, cookie working. Now you have to set the data. HS dot set attribute. Set attribute here. Again, book 1. Here, S1. Same name you can write, other name you can write. But again, whatever you write here, this name same you have to use in the get session program. Next program. Now it is stored in server. HS dot set attribute. Book 2. Here S2. HS dot set attribute. Book 3. S3. Now here session ID created. With that ID, these all items are stored in server and append password to browser, it is stored in client system. ID is stored in client system. Now add it. After this, what we have to do is, we have to display one message. Your books are added to cart. So print writer. Response dot get writer. PW dot println. Your books are added to cart. Here, if you want to display HTML code, you can display pw.println HTML body BG color cyan text blue level 1 heading or center, whatever you want you can write. Here level 1 heading close. Here pw.println anchor tag required, anchor tag. Next hyperlink, a tag. Here next hyperlink, if we click hyperlink reference get, that means get session servlet is going to be executed. After this, HTML remaining tags are closing. Center close, body close, HTML close. Okay. Now this is set session. This set session program. Now see, this is over. If I now set session, it is going to be stored in server. But we have to retrieve. For retrieving purpose, we have to write one more program. Right click, new, servlet. Package name session. Class name get session. Here already we written URL pattern get. Next hyperlink URL pattern, that is only. Here again do get. Finish. Here we have to retrieve from session. We have to retrieve from server. Again, which method required? See, to retrieve the cookie session variable value. Session value. Set attribute you have seen. Next, what you have to use? Get attribute. Get attribute method. Okay. Same. HTTP session HS equal to request dot get session. Now string SC equal to HS dot get attribute. Here book 1. You observe here in this program set attribute. How many parameters are there? First parameter which type? It is string. Second parameter which type? Object. That is object class object. I passed S1. S1 is a reference of which class? String class. Is it valid? Yes or no? If it is valid, how it is valid? If it is not valid, why it is not valid? Actually, what it takes? You see the notes? Object class object. But which class reference I passed? String class. How it is valid? What is it? What is it? Which is superclass? Object is superclass. String is subclass. Subclass object reference assigned to superclass. That concept is called upcasting. With upcasting feature, it is valid. Here get attribute method. Get attribute method return type. What is there? Object. Object assigned to which type here? Is it valid? Object assigned to string. Is it upcasting or downcasting? Downcasting. But downcasting needs you studied, no? If you want to do downcasting, two concepts you have to check. When upcasting valid, always valid. When downcasting valid, core Java, very depth, upcasting, downcasting, one class I taught. Only upcasting or downcasting also, one class I taught. Polymorphism. Upcasting, downcasting, superclass, subclass, these all. Upcasting 2 syntaxes I given. Downcasting 6 I given. Each and everything very depth I covered. Because total Java depends on object-oriented programming topic only. You observe. First line to last line. All are core Java concepts only. See. Package. How to create packages. Core Java concept only, no? Package you studied. Here you are writing only package created. In core Java, how you written? Java C -D option you studied, no? It is Eclipse we are using now. Otherwise, compilation also not easy. You have seen. If package, if you write how to compile, Java C -D option. You studied, no? Here Eclipse we are using. That's what automatically separated, automatically compiled. We automatically done Eclipse. But in a core Java, you studied at the command prompt, I have shown package program. Java C -D option you have to use. Import keyword, core Java. Public keyword, core Java. Class keyword, core Java. Extends keyword, core Java. Line by line, core Java only. Constructor, core Java. Super keyword, core Java. Method, core Java. Library only, advanced Java. Word by word, core Java only. Get attribute method returns object class object. Object class object assigned to string class. This is called downcasting. But when downcasting is valid, upcasting required and explicit type conversion is required. Say already online students give an answer. You observe. Okay. Upcasting required and explicit conversion required. Upcasting already present, but here explicit type conversion required. That's what it is showing error. See, type mismatch, cannot convert from object to string. It will not convert. We have to convert. How to convert? In the brackets, what we have to write? It is already object. Again, if you write object, string we have to write. Now, see that error gone. Okay. It is downcasting. Compulsory we have to do. String S2. Again. String HS dot get attribute. Attribute name book 2. Now, here book 1, book 2, I given here same. See, you observe in this program, here book 1 is this one and this one must match. And here book 1 is this one and this one must match. If you want different names also you can write, but HTML to set session, that is must match. Set session to get session, that is must match. But I given all the places book 1 only. Okay. Suppose B1, B2, B3, like that also you can write. Here, value retrieved, string S3 equal to HS dot get attribute, book 3. Now, what will be happen is, if selected book is there, here hash code will be stored. If not selected, null will be stored. If it is null or not null, we have to check. That is equals method required or equals operator required. Equals operator required. Because you are checking hash code or null. If you are checking content null type, then you have to go for equals method. If it is selected, hash code comes here. Not selected, null comes. That is hash code or null. We have to check. So, if S1 not equal to null, then we have to print. If S1 not equal to null, we have to print. For that, print writer required. Response dot get writer. You can add HTML. See, pw.println, level 1 heading, underline text, selected books. Here, if it is not equal to null, we have to display S1. After displaying, line break. Same style. If S2 not equal to null. Now same program, session tracking method changed, that's it. S2. Line break. pw.println S3. Okay. After this, remaining HTML code you can close. Body close, HTML close. See, first you observe books.html. For this is books.html. You observe whenever you click on submit button, action equal to set is going to be executed. This set configured for set session program. Okay. So set session program is going to be executed. So whenever you click on submit button, form action equal to set executed. Then this set is configured for set session.java program. That is going to be executed. In this program, these names must match. Okay. Book 1, book 2, book 3. Year. Book 1, book 2, book 3. All retrieved. Now year selected or not selected, all will be added to server. While adding to server, if you want, you can write any other name. Suppose B1, B2, B3. You can write. But again, whenever you click on next button, hyperlink, get session is going to be executed. Then in this program, here again, it should be B1, B2, B3. Like that required. If it is not matched, error comes. So here, whatever you write here, that one must match here. Whatever you write in HTML, this one must match here. Okay. Instead of confusion, I written all book 1, book 2, book 3 only. Okay. If you want, again change the name. Here, when you click on submit button, set this program executed. Here S1, S2, S3. These three must match here. Whatever you given here, that one, this one must match. But here, other name also you can write. It is not compulsory. Okay, that is variable name. You can write new other variable name also. But whatever you write here, that one must match here. Okay. Now, from HTML page, selected books I stored in server. From server again retrieved, I displayed. That's it. If I run on server, save. Whenever servlet is updated, always it will ask restart the server. Then you have to restart. Okay. End of the session, I'll clarify your doubt. Paragraph, if I write, see, like that, 4-5 lines is there. Session books.html. Here, head for Java, SCJB by Kathy Sierra. If I click on submit button, now these books are added to server system. When I click next hyperlink, retrieved from server. It is retrieved from server. Okay. Now in the address bar, not there, you observe. Because this is not URL reading. It is stored in server. From server retrieved. Now in this course, we are retrieving, we are displaying here. Suppose username, password is there. Password will never display generally. In that situation, this is best one. Then password you can store server side. No one can see. It is secure. This is HTTP sessions with cookies example. Okay. Now what you do is this set session program, get session, HTML program same, no change. HTML program is same, no change. Set session.java. Is it over? So your client state information, where it is stored? Where is stored? Server memory. Client state information, nothing but in this program. What is client state information in this program? Books, shopping items, like. Depends upon application. Some application username, password is a client state information. Some application account number is a client state information. Some application examination ID is a client state information. That can be different also. Depends upon application. Depends upon application. Okay. Now, here, whatever here retrieved, that is added to server. That is added to server. Okay. Now, here from server retrieved, write this one. It is get session.java. Noted? Write the program, write the program. Is it over? Note down. In the above example, client state information, nothing but books. In the above example, client state information stored in session variables at server side, and session ID created by web container, comma password to client system and stored in cookie variable. In the above example, client state information, nothing but books, stored in session variables at server side, and session ID created by web container, password to client system and stored in cookie variable at client side. That's what the session tracking method is. Sessions with cookies. HTTP sessions with cookies. Cookie means client side, session means server side. Is it over? HTTP sessions with URL reading. One more is there. Next heading. HTTP sessions with URL rewriting. In this session tracking method, client state information stored in session variables at server side and session ID created by web container and appended to URL. Okay. In this session tracking method, client state information stored in session variables at server side and session ID created by web container and appended to URL. So session ID point of view only different. Remaining part is same. Here just one line, only one line code different. Same program, just one line. Before going to write this program, first you see here. Is it over? Writing is over. See, this is previous program. This program. What's the difference? This one and this one you observe. Here. Web container create session ID created by web container, password to client system and stored in cookie variable at client side. But here session ID created by web container and appended to URL. Remaining part is same. Okay. Now for this, just one method is there. One method. That's it. Just one method different. That's it. With only one method, we can change the session tracking method. This is a method. It is used to append a session ID with URL. It is used to append a session ID with URL. It is used to append a session ID with URL. So here URL pattern you have to write, then ID appended to URL. End of the session, I'll clarify your doubts. First listen. Say URL will write here, ID appended to URL. Here ID with URL comes. You observe. Actually, where is URL? Here. This is URL. URL pattern. Now this is, we have to pass here. Then here what it comes is ID plus URL. First If I run this program only will modify. That's the reason before writing code only, you see the execution output once again. Here, are you getting any in address bar? Nothing is, after get, nothing is there. Now you observe. One line I'll change, only one line. Here, string s equal to, what is the method name? Encode URL. Encode URL return type is, that's what string s. That method in which interface? HTTP solid response. So response dot encode URL. Here what is the parameter, which type? That string I'll write here. Get. Now this get I passed here. Okay. Then here ID plus URL will be there. So that S I'll write here. So get I passed here. Now it contains get session ID. That is I displayed here. But S is a variable. It should be outside the double quotes. Here already double quotes started. Here double quote ended. It should be outside the double quotes. That's what? Double quotes plus again plus double quotes. That means here double quote started, double quote ended. Here double quote started, double quote ended. This is outside. Okay. See. Now program changed. That's it. Only one line. Run as, run on server, save. Books.html. Select the books. Submit. Your books are added to cart. Next. Observe. Previously nothing was there. Now what is there? Session ID. Previous program also session ID is there. Stored in cookie variable. Now session ID appended to URL. Previous program, it is stored in cookie variable. In this program stored in, it is appended to URL. That's the difference. Okay. Now, what's the difference between previous program and this program? I'll give notes. Here, only one line I changed. One line. That's what you do is, only this part write it enough, remaining same. Which program I modified? Set session.java. Here, same code, whatever is there, that is as it is. After that, this part write it enough. Again, remaining code as it is. I'll give the difference. I'll explain. So only one line. In this line only, session ID appended to URL. Okay. In this line only, session ID appended to URL. Now, HTTP sessions with cookies. One side, HTTP sessions with URL rewriting. One more side. See, in interview, only session, if they ask also this session only. HTTP session, both are same. Sessions with cookies, sessions with URL rewriting. Like that also we can say. Only two differences are there. I'll give. Is it over? Oh, no done. In this session tracking method, client state information in this session tracking method, client state information stored in session variables at server side and session ID created by web container password to client system and stored in cookie variable at client side. In the session tracking method, client state information stored in session variables at server side and session ID created by web container, password to client system and stored in cookie variable at client side. In this session tracking method, client state information stored in session variable at server side and session ID created by web container and appended to URL. In the session tracking method, client state information stored in session variables at server side and session ID created by web container and appended to URL. See, in both the cases, In both the cases, client state information, where it is stored? Where it is stored? Server side. Now, in previous examples, nothing but books. Some examples, maybe password will be there. Okay. Now, but what's the difference there and here? Session ID stored in cookie variable. Here, session ID appended to URL. That's the difference. But here, here, what will happen? See, what is the difference? When we have to use this one, when we have to use this one, you observe. This session tracking method fails if the cookies are disabled. This session tracking method fails if the cookies are disabled. This session tracking method always works. This session tracking method always works. This session tracking method fails if the cookies are disabled. This session tracking method always works. So, this session tracking method fails if the cookies are disabled. Cookies we can disable. With the browser settings option, we can disable. Then this session tracking will not work. This session tracking method always works. It always works. Which is best? URL rewriting is best. Okay. But here, why cookies not outdated? Why URL writing not outdated? Why HTTP sessions? Like four concepts are there. This all you will understand after completion of cookies and session comparison. Okay. This is third session tracking method, only two different types. That is, okay. Now cookies versus sessions. Next, cookies versus sessions. One side cookies, one side sessions. Cookies nothing but first session tracking method. Sessions nothing but third session tracking method. Okay. Cookies nothing but first session tracking method. And sessions nothing but third session tracking method. First and third I'm comparing. Okay. A cookie is a piece of information stored at client side. A session is a piece of information stored at server side. A cookie is a piece of information stored at server side to maintain client state. It is also same. Server side to maintain client state information. A cookie is a piece of information stored at client side to maintain client state information. A session is a piece of information stored at server side to maintain client state information. Say client state information nothing but depends upon application, different types will be there. To identify the client, we are going to use shopping items, username, password, examination ID, policy number, account number, this type, any information. To recognize the client, whatever data required, that is called client state information. Cookie, nothing but if the data stored in some variable client side, that variable is called cookie. The data stored in server side in some variable, that variable is called session. That's it. But general session means it is a time period between login and logout, I said. This is session tracking. Method name is session. That's what, without confusion, HTTP session also given. But HTTP session, both are same. In interview, what's the difference between cookies and session? They are asking. They are not asking cookies and HTTP session. Actually, cookies and HTTP session, cookies and session, both are same. No change. Okay. Now, second one. Here, size of the data is limited. Here, size of the data is not limited. Here, size of the data is limited. Here, size of the data is not limited. It allows string type data only. It allows all types of data. It allows string type data only. It allows all types of data. You have seen cookie constructor. How many parameters? 2 parameters. Which type? Both are string type. Set attribute method. 2 parameters. First parameter string. Second parameter object. Object place can I pass employee? Employee data. Object place employee class object can I pass? Yes, because upcasting. Every class is derived from object class. That's what all types of data load. Okay. Fourth one. By default, cookies are vanished whenever browser window is closed. By default, sessions are vanished after 30 minutes in a Tomcat server. You have seen yesterday 1800 seconds I displayed time interval. But cookies by default vanished whenever you close the browser window. By default, cookies are vanished whenever browser window is closed. By default, sessions are vanished after 30 minutes in a Tomcat server. That depends upon server. Is it possible to set the time interval for cookie? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Which method? Set max age. Is it possible to set the time interval per session? Yes. Set max inactive interval. Yesterday method I given. Now write it. Both side possible. Here it is possible to set the time interval. Here it is possible to set the time interval by using set max age method of cookie class. Here it is possible to set the time interval by using set max inactive interval. Method of HTTP session interface. Here it is possible to set the time interval by using set max age method of cookie class. Here it is possible to set the time interval by using set max inactive interval method of HTTP session interface. Cookies are secure or not secure? Not secure, because stored in client system, other people can see. But sessions, secure. Stored in server computer, no one can see. Cookies are not secure because stored in client system. Sessions are secure because stored in server system. So if the data is confidential, which one you have to use? Sessions. Compulsory sessions you have to use. See, cookies versus URL rating. That is your return. Cookies and URL rating difference. After that, HTTP session with cookies and HTTP session with URL rating written. Now, cookies sessions also written. Okay. But this point I didn't give, I think, just you check it. Cookies versus URL rating starting again yesterday. Cookies versus URL rating. How many difference I given? Yesterday. Cookies versus URL rating. 6. This point is there. This session tracking method fails. Not there. Then this one, write it as 7 number. 7. Because this is URL rating session tracking. Cookie side, this one write it. URL rating side, this one write it. 7th point in yesterday. Seventh point, cookies, differences between cookies and URL rating and notes I given. Cookies and URL rating. Cookie side, this session tracking method fails if the cookies are disabled, write it. URL re-rating side, this session tracking method always works, write it. 7th point. In yesterday notes, yesterday or day before yesterday given. Yesterday. 7th point, that one write it. 7th point, this session cookie side, this session tracking method fails if the cookies are disabled. URL rewriting side, this session tracking method always works. Is it over? Up to here, 3 session tracking methods completed. But when we have to use cookies, when we have to use URL rating, when we have to use HTTP sessions. Say, if the data is confidential, Which one you have to use? Sessions, compulsory sessions. Okay. But cookies and URL rating when we have to use. That I'll explain tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow I'll explain. It is not outdated. That is also there. Situation.